We are family.
Well, that was quite the pressure cooker to talk about it well. I'll do my best. This will be just like a quick intro to this segment. Don't need to do it every week, but my family loves CFL football. My mom's side of the family, I think like 90% of people are diehards. Most of them are Elks fans. We got some BC Lion fans. Like, as you know, my sister and I are Ticat fans. Her fiance is a Stamps fan. We still love him. My son cheers for the Alouettes. And I should have mentioned this when we were talking about Francophone culture, but the reason why he cheers for the Alouettes is that when the Alouettes came to town, he was in French immersion, and he went down after the game to talk en français avec Orlando Seawall. And they were talking French back to him, and he could not believe it. And I'm good on the Alouettes organization for teaching. They all learn French when they're on that team. So my kid is a diehard Alouettes fan now because of that. So community. But I have like constant texts from aunts and uncles and parents and sisters and about CFL, and it's just ramping up. They're all probably a little jealous I'm doing this podcast. But I did want to talk. I brought a prop today for flag football. I took notes on my son's flag football game. I've been watching for a season and a half, and I still am learning rules. But you tell me if you think this is the same as tackling. So these are the flags that you wear around your belt that you got to pull off. They are 2 inches wide. I'll just explain for a podcast. They're 2 inches wide. They're 17 inches long. You got to pull them off. It's not tackle. And I'm surprised people are going like, oh, Brady Oliveira would be so great at flag football. He should be on the team. And I'm like, should he? I don't know. Flag football. Field is 80 by 20 yards. End zones are 10 yards deep. The midfield in between them is 60 yards. 30 on each side with a 5-yard no-run zone on each end before the end zone. So 5 yards before the end zone, you cannot run. You have to throw. So there's different rules for 5 by 5 and 7 by 7. I checked, and it looks like the Olympics is doing 5 by 5. So in 5 by 5, there's no kicking. In 7 by 7, there is. The rule book is 63 pages long. It's an involved game. So it's your turn. When you're on offense, you start at the 5-yard line. In Canada, you have 3 downs. In international rules, you have 4 downs to get to midfield. And then once you get to midfield, 4 to get from midfield to the end zone. If your pass ends up like on the 3-yard line, you have to throw in. You cannot run in. If you don't make it to midfield or a touchdown, the opposition takes over at their own 5-yard line. So they go back and start at the 5-yard line. So the possession doesn't end unless it's a fumble. If it's a fumble, you get possession where the ball is. But if it's a turnover on downs, you start back at the 5. You have 30 seconds to put the ball in play. And the clock doesn't stop unless there's an injury or a timeout. No fumbles. If your snapper fumbles the ball and it goes on the ground, it's a dead play. You lost a down. If the quarterback fumbles the ball, lost a down. There's no fumbling. The quarterback can't run the ball. You have to throw or hand off. The only time the quarterback can have the ball is if they do a lateral pass or hand off back, and then the running back or receiver, whoever it is, hands it back to the quarterback, then they can run. So straightforward. I'm not sure how you're going to do in flag football. There's no lateral passes past the line of scrimmage. And in my kids' league, that you can't run 2 run plays in a row. I couldn't find that in the actual rules, so that might just be their specific league rule. So flagging. You can't grab the uniform. You have to grab the flag. If you grab the uniform, it's a penalty. And all the penalties are 5 yards. You have to pull. When running, if you're the receiver, you have the ball, you cannot guard your flag. You cannot have your arm down. You cannot straight arm or push away. We all joke that you have to hold the ball and hold your arm up while you're running, because I saw about 6 guarding penalties on the weekend. You cannot guard your flag at all. So just pretend it doesn't exist. You have to hand the flag back to the person who you flagged. Otherwise, it's a penalty. So, and also for guarding, around flags for the receiver, the person who has the ball, you cannot jump. Your one foot has to be on the ground at all times. No diving, no rolling. So basically, you just got to run. Scoring, 6 points for a touchdown. Yeah, so as I said, there's no run-ins after the 5-yard line. You have to throw. After your touchdown, you can either go for 1 point or 2 points. If you want to go for 1 point, you throw from the 5-yard line. If you want to go for 2 points, you throw from the 10-yard line. There are no runs on point afters. After a turnover or downs, like I said, you start back on your own 5-yard line. You can't rush the QB off the line. A QB rusher must be 7 yards back from the line of scrimmage. They put a beanbag there. There's only one person who can rush the QB, and they have to start 7 yards back. They have a straight line. You have to get out of the QB rusher's way. QB intentionally grounds the ball. It's a penalty, a 5-yard penalty, and a loss of down. So this is a bit different than tackle, and I've heard the NFL is trying to tweak some of these rules to make it easier for NFL players. My dad made a good point. He's like, can you imagine these big NFL guys trying to grab a flag and not push anyone? It'll be interesting to see how it all works out, because this, as you can see, I think it's a completely different game. Thoughts, comments, questions? Okay. I'm here for any of your questions that I can answer.
Thanks, MJ. I love that. That's the kind of stuff I wanted to know, because frankly, I've seen flag, but I didn't know about a lot of those details. And like you said, 63 pages, you can't go into all of it, but I have heard that it's considerably different. And I wonder about this. When so much of football is muscle memory, you get used to it. One of the things that's come up this week is people have been saying there's no reason for the CFL to suspend the season, because at best each team might lose one player. So it's like an injury that week. And it makes sense. Can you imagine if these guys go in with 1 week and they've got to turn around from thinking about how they tackle, and even a receiver or a running back not guarding that flag? I can see why the NFL wants to change it, because it's going to be very difficult for them. And frankly, how embarrassing it'll be if they put forth a team of American stars and some long-term flag football team comes in from another country and beats them, which could easily happen. Thank you for that. That's my input. Any thoughts, GT?
Yeah, I think that, again, it takes a special kind of athlete, a different kind of athlete necessarily, bulk-wise, as well as just between the difference in NFL versus CFL players. So it's going to be another step again versus CFL players to flag players. You've only got 10 players on the field. That means you're going to carry a roster of, 15 maybe? So that's 15 guys. They can find 15 guys that'll fit. And again, as we talked about last week, for them, it's not out of the ordinary. It won't necessarily be 15 stars. There might be 1 or 2 big names, and then the rest, receivers type things that might fit the bill. There might be a quarterback that fits the bill. It may not, but he might be a college quarterback. That's what I see happening for the Canadian team, is maybe a university quarterback that really fits the bill and can sling the ball, because it sounds like that's what you need to do more than anything. I think it's a certain kind of athlete, and we've been doing it for years in hockey, and the States did it in basketball, where we sent the 10, the college team or the amateur guys, and then we didn't win until the pros went. So I can see the pros going. I just don't think it's necessarily going to be the people you expect. It might be in the NFL, guys that are number 50 on the roster but are suited, because it's not going to be any of the linemen, that's for sure.
DBs, start working on your hand dexterity now, because somebody flying full speed down the sideline trying to grab a flag and pull without grabbing their uniform is going to be tough.
Yes.
Yeah, and I've already seen pushback from some of the current flag players to just saying, we're not giving it up. If you think you're going to come in and take our jobs, good luck. We're not giving it up easy. You're going to be very surprised.
Yeah, good for them. Although I'm told that Canada, I guess the last World Championships, they had a team with Mason Nyes, who was out of University of Saskatchewan Huskies, and an excellent quarterback, and then a couple of ex-CFL receivers, and they still got thumped. So we'll see. I'm not certain, but from what I understand to what you said, GT, about the roster, is on game day, I believe it's a 10-man roster.
It's a 10-person roster. That's it. You can't have any extras. If you have less than 10... So if you have less than 10, someone has to play both ways.
Yeah, exactly. And so they may take a couple of alternates with them, but it's not going to be a lot of players. And to clarify, what I've been told the NFL has said they'll do is they will allow 1 player per team per country to attend. So the CFL could do that same sort of thing. But people are already saying Houston has 2 very good Canadians, and they'll only be able to use one of them if they want, if they're still with those teams at that point.
Right.
I'm also interested to see who Paula Police hires for assistants, and I hope he has memorized this playbook.
Yeah. Well, I know that the guys on 3 Down were speculating that he may not be the coach by the time it gets to there because they don't know that they want a tackle coach for it.
A tackle coach isn't going to teach you how to not guard a flag or how to flag. Like my kids, like sometimes they spend an entire practice, like an hour and a half working on flagging. So I just it's just going to be interesting to see if you think you can just pull a CFL player off a roster and send them. You can't.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Yes. Thank you for that, MJ.